Hi everybody, thank you for watching my video, thank you for finding my channel, thank you for listening to me this evening. My name is Journaling Mummy, or my channel is called Journaling Mummy 16. I'm also on Instagram where I post pictures and kind of time lapses of my bullet journal. And I am really excited to be here with you this evening. I'm really excited to get this YouTube channel set up and kind of talk to you about the bullet journal method. So I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with bullet journaling. It's something that I fell in love with about 18 months ago, and I started my first bullet journal and I just couldn't make it work for me. So I'd watched Boho Berry, I'd watched Alexandra Plans, I'd watched Sunshine and Stationery, I'd watched Amanda Rach Lee, all these phenomenal YouTubers who bullet journal and have just the most incredible bullet journals. And I was a little bit jealous. I wanted mine to look that way. I wanted mine to be that creative. I wanted mine to be that pretty, that kind of have that doodling, the hand lettering in there. I wanted it to look like that. So I started. I have always prided myself on having very neat handwriting, and I do have very neat handwriting, but I'm not very good at doodling or at hand lettering or anything like that. And so I started, sorry, I just put my finger in front of the camera, good job. So I started bullet journaling. It lasted about a month. I won't say I hated it, but it didn't look the way I wanted it to look, and so I stopped. Basically, I just never did it again. The issue also for me was that I was on maternity leave and I didn't feel like I really warranted a bullet journal because I didn't have a huge amount to track in my day. I didn't have a huge amount to do in my day. I was just I was at home a lot. I had, you know, a 7, 8, 9 month old who didn't necessarily need a huge amount of, I didn't need a huge amount of dailies. My dailies basically consisted of get up, feed the child, feed the dog, change child's bum, etc. My dailies weren't there. They weren't, you know, there was nothing to fill them with. So I started doing dailies where I did journaling, and that was fine until I reached a point where I didn't have a huge amount of journaling to do because I didn't have a huge amount to write about. I hadn't done a huge amount in my day. I didn't feel like it really warranted me writing about it every day because I didn't feel like I necessarily had anything to write about. So again, I stopped. And they didn't look the way I wanted them to look. They didn't look creative like Boho Berries. They didn't look like Alexandra Plans. And I wanted them to. And I couldn't understand how to make the system my own and how to make it mine. So I stopped. And then I went back to work. I got super busy. I thought this might work. I started again. And just, that's kind of been my relationship with it for the last 18 months. In and out, in and out, in and out, and never really finding plan a piece or finding a system that works for me. So last week I bought the Bullet Journal Method by Ryder, who is obviously the creator of the bullet journal system. And I'd never really I didn't really look into what the system was or why the system existed. I just kind of followed tips on YouTube. I'd followed, you know, videos on YouTube and tried to create this system that worked for me. So I picked this book up, and I've got to be honest, I'm not a massive kind of self-help personal development book reader. I don't get a huge amount of time to read books as it is, but I don't really read self-help personal development books at all. So I thought, well, I'll give this a go. People are raving about it. I'll see what it's about. So I started to read, and I, honest to God, have just fallen back in love with bullet journaling. And I think the reason for it is because I completely understand the system. And I completely understand how a bullet journal is meant to look and what it's meant to look like and what it's meant to be used for. So I cannot recommend this book enough. I think it's probably one of the best books I've read for a very long time. And I'm going to read it again. There are still some activities in here that he suggests doing that I haven't done. I want to go back through and highlight some things. I want to go back through and make some notes because there are lots of really key points in here that I kind of didn't make notes on while I was reading it. I was eager to get to the setting up of my bullet journal. But I definitely think this is a book that I think whether you're, you know, a new starter or you're a bullet journaling pro, I think this is a book that's really worth reading because it really helps you to understand the system. The other thing I really love about this book is the goal setting. So I would set myself goals, and I'd find that actually I wasn't meeting these goals because I was just sort of plodding along. I wasn't really getting anywhere with them. I didn't, you know, they were massive goals. You know, like, I don't know, reach my target weight was a goal. But yet, I didn't say how I was going to get to that goal. I didn't say how I was going to reach that goal. And he talks about in this book about breaking your goals down into sprints. It's not a marathon, it's a sprint. You know, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, should I say. And you have to, you know, you can have your kind of overall goal here, but you have to know the steps you're going to take to get to that goal. And that, for me, was eye-opening. And that was the real thing for me that really stood out in reading this book. So yeah, without a doubt, I would highly, highly recommend this book, and I love it. So, you know, I absolutely thank Ryder for inventing bullet journaling and writing this book, and I am absolutely in love with it. So I'm going to put this book to the side. So these are my 2 bullet journals. So this one is a mint green A5 Scribbles and Matter dot grid. And this is the bullet journal that I was in for the last month. So I started this one in October. This was the bullet journal I was in. This, however, is like a cobalt blue official bullet journal. It's obviously a Leuchtturm. And this is the current bullet journal that I'm in. And this is the one I've set up based off of Ryder's book. So if I just move this to the side and kind of show you a little bit how I'd set this one up. So I hadn't done a huge amount in here. There's umpteen blank pages in here. So I'd set up a kind of future log. I hadn't really got much further than that. I'd started a reading list, hadn't really got much further. I wanted to do 19 before 2019, hadn't really got any further with it. Then I had October with my spooky lettering. I say gratitude, it was a 1 line a day, really. My habit tracker, sleep tracker, step tracker, that I just didn't do them. I just didn't finish them. The issue for me with this was I was having to take my Apple Watch off and recharge it every couple of days, so I wouldn't track my steps, especially over a weekend, and I just couldn't be bothered. But it didn't mean anything, and that's one of the things from the book as well, is that there's no point having collections. You can have as many collections as you like, but they've got to have meaning, they've got to mean something. And these, for me, meant nothing. Tracking my sleep meant nothing. I know how much sleep I have in a day. I know how much sleep I have at night. I know how much sleep is good for me. This part of it is just data that's on your Apple Watch. It's irrelevant, really. You don't really need it. And then I did these weeklies. I used some stickers. I did my dailies. I did do a little bit of hand lettering. I love this one. I think it's really cute. And these, I did this kind of setup. I didn't really like this one. Again, more dailies. Weekly. This was when I broke up on holiday. I did this kind of, there's a phone number up there that I've just spotted. I did this kind of Alistair method, I think it is, where you kind of have your running to-do list, and then you have your kind of, I'm just going to fold this over so you can't see this phone number. You kind of mark on which day you've done which task. So I had that for a week where I wasn't at work because I wasn't as busy. I did an October review, and then I set up November. So this is the month that my son turns 2, so I set up November. I apologise if you can hear him banging in the background. I set up my monthly. I've always done this kind of calendar view. I thought it was the best way to do it. You know, I set up all of November, and then I set up a few other collections. I did take some notes, and then I stopped using it. Again, I didn't get bored, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it looked. It didn't look like everybody else's. You know, you can watch Alexandra Plans, for example, who does incredible videos using Dutch doors. You can watch her on YouTube, and they look phenomenal. I do them, and they don't look anything like hers. And that was what annoyed me. It didn't look like anybody else's. And that, for me, was what kind of irritated me. So this is my, I'm just going to move this out the way slightly. Excuse my fidgeting around, just so I can get this at a better angle. So this is my current bullet journal. And this is the cobalt blue official Leuchtturm bullet journal. So this is the one that I went out and bought on Friday, sorry. Having read Ryder's book. So this has obviously got the signifiers filled in. So this is set up based off of Ryder's book and what I learnt in Ryder's book, and how I learnt to kind of set up what I was doing and how I wanted it to look from Ryder's book. So obviously you've got your tips and hints in here. Sorry for all the moving. I'm just trying to find the best possible angle to film this at. So this is my index. So I've indexed everything that I've set up as per what Ryder says. I've set it up. You know, that's got everything in that I've got so far. And then you obviously come to the future log, which is pre-marked out in these official bullet journals. Now, my only regret in this, the one, and I know that a lot of people have talked about this, the kind of whole point of the book and the going back to basics is about keeping it very, very simple. So throughout the whole of this bullet journal, the only thing I've used is a Faber-Castell artist pen in 0.5 and a white jelly roll pen in 0.5. That's the only thing I've used except for on this page. And this, I think, is kind of my only regret with it, that I did this in red. I wish I'd done it in the same sort of lettering as I've done the rest of the bullet journal, but you live and learn, and that's fine. I haven't set this up yet. I've got to be honest, I don't really use a future log. I don't really see much, not past 6 months anyway, I don't really see much point for it, but I've set it up anyway. And then we come to the first kind of collection, if you like. So I set up my monthly, so it's just a very simple, you know, days of the week and the dates down the side. I've got my kind of events already penciled in, and I've indicated which of these are the significant ones and are the most important ones for me during that month. And then I've got a running task list of all the things that I need to get done during this month. If I do nothing else, I need to get these done. Then I have a daily, and this is what I kind of love about it. So Ryder talks about daily logging and how I've used daily logs as my daily to-do list. So what I want to get done during a day. And very often it will be 3 or 4 things that I need to get done during that day. And then I don't know where else to put anything because I don't have any space to make notes, or I feel like I've got no more space to make notes. But Ryder talks about in his book about how your daily should be a catch-all. So it should be, for rapid logging, you should rapid log everything that comes into your head during that day, whether it's a task, an event, a note, whatever it is. And then at the end of the day, when you do your reflection, you either migrate or schedule that task, and you kind of sort through it and sort it out. So that's why this daily is so much longer than it should have been necessarily on holiday, because my dailies when I'm on holiday are not this long. Then I did this spread, which is the what can I do today that will make tomorrow better. And this is something else he talks about in his book. So we're currently on the 5th. This was my 5th thing to do today. I haven't finished it. It's not going to get done today. It will get done tomorrow. But I will put another kind of thing on there about what I want to get done tomorrow to make Wednesday better. So then I did the 2 logs where you get you to write the letter about if you continue taking a well-worn path, a letter if you take a new path, a letter to your future self, which I spelt wrong, and then from that you set your goals. So these were kind of my goals that I picked out from that. This is just a very basic meal plan spread. This goes with one of the collections I've done a bit later on. And then I'd done 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which I love. I think is such a good idea. So obviously you have your short term, your 1 hour, your 2 days, your 3 weeks, your 4 months, and then your 5 years. And this is what you want to achieve personally and professionally in that period of time. So he then tells you to indicate one key thing from each box that you want to focus on. And for these, for the 1 hour, 2 days, you then migrate them, or schedule them, sorry, onto your daily, which I did. And then you indicate them with a signifier to indicate that they are the most important tasks for you to do that day, and you must get them done. The same with these. You write this in and then you put it on your daily list and you indicate it with a task, with a signifier to make sure you get it done. So I did that. I did these, and then for all the other ones that you've indicated, you then make a spread or a collection. So he gives you some questions to answer, which I did, and then you break it down into sprints, which again I did. And then these were kind of like how I was going to set up my collection. So I'd done alphabet dates, healthy eating, target weight with a weight loss tracker. Oh, let's not show Christmas presents. I have a Christmas present spread there, but I'm not going to show too much of it because obviously I don't want people to see what I've bought. And then I did a morning and evening routine. I've tried this a few times. I don't know whether it will work, but it's there. And then I've got my ideal day. Now, this doesn't always work for me. in the way that Ryder intends it to, because my day will change. Obviously, I'm a secondary school teacher, so my day will change. So I may not be able to do my priorities in the morning because I may have a lesson. I may have a lesson in the afternoon, you know, so it doesn't always work in the way, for me, that it should work. And then back to more dailies, and then in November, gratitude. This is a spread for work. This is my to-do list for today. So again, if that was a to-do list, it would be ridiculous. I apologise for the banging. That as a to-do list would be ridiculous, but there's quite a lot on here that I need to migrate or schedule or move, because it's things that have come into my head during the day that I need to now put on a different spread and make sure that it's where it should be. Then I followed his kind of clarity log. So, you know, washing clothes bores me. And then why do I wash? And then this is my last spread. This is my 8 weeks of challenges. So I've seen people doing a 52-week challenge, or a different challenge every week. But because there are only 8 weeks left of the year, I've decided to do an 8 week. So I've got 8 challenges there. This week should be no chocolate, crisps or bread for a week. I've already failed epically at that today because I've eaten bread, because I didn't get a chance to make a salad this morning. But that is my bullet. And then I will do Tuesday here. When I do my reflection this evening, I will do Tuesday here, ready for tomorrow. So that, for me, is my setup. I'm on page 31. So there's not a huge amount in here, but there's a lot in here that's taken from Ryder's book. And there's a lot in here that I've learned. And I have got to admit, I didn't think I could love a simple minimalist bullet journal, but I do. And I absolutely am just in love with the way this is set up. Whether this will stay the same over the next month or so, because I tend to be okay for a month and then I lose interest. So it will be interesting to see what happens in December. But for the time being, this is what I'm working with. And this is my setup. And I'm going to stick to the very kind of minimalist, the black headings with the kind of white dots, and I'm going to stick to that, and I'm going to see if it works. That is it really from me today. I kind of wanted to show you this setup and show you what I've done. I'm not hugely sure how this YouTube channel is going to go. Obviously, if it gets views and people like it, then obviously comment below or hit subscribe. And I will certainly consider filming more videos. You know, if it's got subscriptions and it's got people who are watching it or who are interested in my setup, then I will obviously film more videos. But please, hit subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And thank you very much for watching. Bye.